I wanted to get involved in this project for two reasons, basically. The firstly was because True Cadence, they've done a lot of work with me in the past, and I've done a lot of work with them in the past. They've been very supportive of my career and the careers of other young, talented musicians. They're always willing to kind of go the extra step and give you opportunities I don't think you would have had before. And you would have been hard pressed to find them, type thing. They make it very easy and accessible to people. And I think groups like that are really needed in the scene, because like it's what builds the scene, really. You have nothing without grassroots music, sorry. And the second reason I wanted to do this is because mental health is a topic that hits very, very close to home, very important. I suffer with it. I've got families that have suffered with it. I've lost family to it. Like, it's really important. And I think especially now it's becoming more and more talked about, but there's still a taboo and there's still a stigma. And I think until people start speaking up and doing something about that stigma, there's always going to be that stigma. It's not going to change. So things like this, they really help break down the barriers, which is why I wanted to be involved in this project. My creative process for this was quite similar to me writing most other pieces. This time I had a set motive, I think is what it's called. Like, I had something to write about. So when I have like something that I know I want to write about, I sit there and I gather all my thoughts, and it kind of comes on the page in drips and drabs. It starts there. It can start anywhere, and I kind of just ramble until I get the right words. Find the right things to say. In terms of like personal inspiration for this, like my anxiety around the time of writing this was, pretty high, and had been for a little while. So I was able to just draw from that, really, and kind of draw from what I was going through, what I have been through. But I also like to talk about like experiences other people that have been through, and like try and relate it to the people that are listening, But at the end of the thing, I wanted to include like a panic attack effect and have like the breathiness and everything to kind of enforce like the feeling of having an anxiety attack within the piece. Obviously the lyrics are there, but I tried to match the flow too if I can, just to make it a bit more interesting, a bit deeper to the listener. It's important for young people to speak about mental health because I feel like it's a struggle that is not very much talked about, and from what I know, definitely affects the younger people, the younger generation, a bit more than the older generation. You got things like like social media and like day-to-day stresses, obviously like the cost of living and all that kind of thing. It's really like hurting people. A lot of people are struggling right now. Suicide is the biggest killer in young men, like bar none, and I think more needs to be done about that, because if we can solve these like mental health problems, or at least like help to deal with them so that like you haven't got that consequence, like we could save a lot of lives, There's a lot of people that are dying needlessly, and it's not right. So someone with anxiety right now, I'd say take each day at a time, look after your mind and body, speak to someone that you trust, speak to a mental health professional if you can. Don't force yourself or put too much pressure on yourself to do something that's too far outside of your comfort zone. But always be willing to break the boundaries as long as you're comfortable, because at the end of the day, I feel like that's the only way that you can break through the anxiety, is by facing. But it is, like I said, it's a long journey, and there's no point making yourself do something that you're uncomfortable with that's just going to have a longer negative effect. So take each day at a time and look after yourself, talk to people. That's all I can say, really.